Hey everybody, it's Strict9 with Strict9 GP, and back with another episode of this Out of the Park 22 playthrough with the San Francisco Giants. So we're into September, we're about to finish our first season now with this team, and we've taken a turn for the worse. Kind of playing the way I thought we were going to play when I took over the team. Had a decent run into the middle of the season, especially in the June. I thought we might have a chance at making the wild card. But then after that last episode, we started playing bad, and I realized, yeah, we're pretty much in the rebuild process. There's not a whole lot we can do with this team to get it competitive right now, which was never really the goal. I know I took on this team for a lot of reasons, but the main reason was that it was a good chance to rebuild right away with the contracts the way they were with this team. A lot of veterans, a lot of their contracts running up, and a lot of team options coming up in the end of the 2021 season. But we did make one move, which I'm not sure is going to help us too much, but I'm going to give a little recap of that and just finish out the season. The first thing I wanted to talk about was that move I made. When we started losing, I realized, there's not a whole lot of value on this team. Probably the biggest value was Alex Wood, a guy who was just pitching really well. He was injured to start the season, and as soon as he came off the IL, he was really good for us. But I just did not see signing this guy to an extension when he was wanting at one point, I think $11 million. I thought that was a little risky. So I decided to trade him just to see what I could get. Again, his contract wasn't that bad, but I wanted to get some youth on the team, and maybe come up with somebody who is kind of like a sleeper pickup. But I traded him to Cincinnati, and since I traded him, he's been great for Cincinnati. So I don't know if they're going to re-sign him. He's probably going to get some notice, though, after this season in free agency. He's up to 10 wins right now, 3 wins above replacement. Just having a great season. And if I felt confident that he was going to be able to do that for another 2 seasons or so, I may have pulled the trigger and done the contract. But I just decided, I feel like maybe it's better if I try to get something for him and just start over with this team. So what I did is I traded him away for Justice Sheffield. If you're familiar with him, he had a great short season with Seattle last year. Just pull up his pitching stats here for the majors. As a starter, in 10 games, he won 4, had a 1.5 wins above replacement. Looked pretty good at 24 with them. But he started 2021 with Seattle, was traded away, didn't do too well at Cincinnati in relief. So I decided to pick him up and see if maybe there was some upside to this guy still as a starting pitcher. In terms of the way he's scouted, I know he's a 3-star potential. Giving him another full month of starting, maybe he'll develop. He's got 3 pretty strong pitches, good stamina. So I'm hoping that maybe he'll develop a little bit, and we definitely have more room with him in terms of team control. He's not yet eligible for arbitration, so he was also a lefty, like Wood was. So whether that was a good trade or not, you can weigh in the comments. But I just felt like I'm not going to keep Wood, so why not get something for him? So that was the only move I made, because we really didn't have anybody else I would have thought, to really have value out there on the market. And you can see, looking at the way we played, we were 10-15 in July. August has been even worse, 11-17, and we did take a dive offensively. That's really what I was looking for in trading Wood away. I was looking for a good position player, but just couldn't get it, and that's why I went with Sheffield. But surprisingly, our pitching has been really good. I mean, we're now top 10 in most categories. The only thing like strikeouts, which it's just the way the staff is. We're not getting a lot of strikeouts, but overall, I've been pleased with the pitching. It's just that hitting that's been the problem. So that's where we're going to be active in the offseason and free agency. Another thing I wanted to point out, I mentioned last episode for sure, we have a pretty good list of prospects here, especially Luciano, who was just tearing it up at High A Eugene. But unfortunately, the guy got injured. And I'm hoping this isn't going to hurt his development now. It probably will. Got a fractured elbow. He's out now 6 to 7 months, so he's not even going to be ready to play until, what is that, around the start of next season. So hopefully that's when he'll be back. It won't hurt him too much next year, but he was on such a tear. I'd never seen somebody put up numbers like he did from a power perspective. He's the 14th ranked prospect right now. I don't know if he's going to hold on to that. My scout thinks he's a 2-star player at the moment, which really he's probably ready for at least AA, maybe AAA with those kind of rankings or ratings from the scout. If I did his ratings relative to, say, AAA West, he's still a 2-star player, but pretty good individual ratings. So I'm hoping next year, at the very least, if he comes back, he'll be ready for AA, and just hope that he develops the way he's playing. We got other guys on there too that are looking really good. If I, where is the best way? Yeah, look at player development here, and you can see these are our top 200 prospects. We got, aside from Luciano, we got Bailey, who's in the top 100, a catcher. I'm hoping Joey Bart is going to be our catcher, at least for the near future, but it's nice to have some catching depth. Ramos is another one. He's had a great season at Richmond. I think he's got some upside, might be ready for AAA next year. He's 2.5 stars from my scout already at with the AAA rating. So we got some. I think we got some prospects that might be ready in 2 or 3 years. Arteaga's another one. He's way down there right now, and he's another one that got injured, but he looked good too in limited play. The only thing I'm not sure of too much is, let me see if he's showing up here, but he was a former first-round pick, and he has been tearing it up, and that's Hunter Bishop. He's at AA right now, I think, or is he Eugene? Let me double check. Yeah, he's at Eugene. This guy's had a tremendous year. He is showing up, player of the month, player of the week, just constantly for this team. Just a great season. Look at that line, 96 games, 36 home runs. But his ratings are just, it's baffling. He's a 2-star potential from both my scout and OSA. OSA thinks he's even worse. But for some reason, he's putting up the numbers. I keep hoping that it'll translate into ratings improvement sooner or later, but so far it hasn't happened. But if I look at how he's rated with even AA, he's got some potential, but I don't even think he's ready for AA from my scout. So I don't know what this guy's going to do in the future. But I got to keep an eye on him because the numbers he's putting up are just tremendous. Now, another thing I wanted to go over too is the draft. Let me see where the best place to find that is. I always get lost with these transaction logs, but we'll go into July, sorry. The draft was in July this year. So our first pick in the draft was catcher Ian Moeller, which is what the OSA mock draft had us. But this guy, he's lost a little bit of his potential based on my scouts ratings. But like I said previously, for me in the draft, I always try to pick the best player available. I know we've got some good catching depth. We've got several catching prospects out there right now. But I just had a hard time turning this guy down. He's a 4.5-star potential with OSA, a lot of power for a catcher. You can see the numbers he's put up so far at that rookie league have been really impressive. He might even be ready to go to the next level going into next year, which would be low A West, where he's got incredible potential. Everything's maxed out there, it looks like. So he was the first pick, and then I started going with pitching. A lot of, just kind of bouncing back and forth. Brandon Birdsell, not a lot of potential right now, but he had a good start to his career there in the minors. We got a right fielder who had a rough season, but I think he's got some good potential ratings there offensively. He's got great speed, which I love. And then the fourth pick was another pitcher in Braden Sanders. Again, not a lot of potential now. When I picked him, he had a higher potential. I think it's three or greater. But he's had a decent start to his career in rookie ball. Maybe he'll develop. He's rated a little bit higher with OSA than me. My scout has him. And then this second baseman, Burris, he might be one of the best picks I made because he's a fifth-round pick. Again, just a two-star potential. But I like his ratings because they're above average in most categories except contact. He's got pretty good potential from OSA. He has looked incredible in his first year in rookie ball. 28 starts, 417 average, 2.8 wins above replacement, just putting up incredible numbers. So in terms of where he might fit in next year, low A would be the next. Man, he's really got some good upside. So I like that pick. Might be one of the better picks I made in the long term, but just have to see how that plays out. But we'll take a look now at the pitching staff first on how things are going with the team. We've had some struggles, especially with Tyler Rogers, who I know I sold up quite a bit. First half of the year, he was really awesome, but he just took a dump in the second half. His ERA is now up to 5.12, 153 WHIP. He just, 350 BABIP. Everything went bad for him. If you look at how he did in July, a 9.28 ERA, August, an 8 ERA. It was game after game that he was just really getting hammered. And I think with the saves now, blown saves, he's up to 4 when he only had 1 in that last episode. So he's been a problem, but the bullpen overall has been okay. Brebbia was a guy who was injured for a while. I called him up just to give us some depth, and he's been okay. The starting lineup, or starting staff, we've still got some injuries there, but I think Tropiano has been one of the biggest surprises. This guy's ERA is now down to 3.88 in 25 saves. He's been pretty consistent for the most part. 2.6 wins above replacement, decent WHIP. I like what he's done for the team. He has the highest wins above replacement on the staff right now. I've got Aaron Sanchez back, and he's in there really just because of depth issues. With the injuries, I don't think I'm going to re-sign him, but we'll see how he plays the rest of the season. And then Shell, who I picked up or called up middle of the season, he's been hit or miss. I don't know. Really, a couple things that I don't like about him. I don't think he has the pitches that he needs right now. He's got to develop the changeup a little bit better. For me, as a starter, I'm looking for 3, 4, or more pitches, and I typically like to have him rated in the green, above average. He's got 2 that are above average, and then the changeup is a little bit below average. And then his stamina is not that great. He's getting about 5 innings an outing. I usually like higher stamina than that too, and his stuff is low. So even though he's getting the strikeouts, he's giving up a lot of hits. I just don't know if he's going to make it on this starting rotation long term. And I talked about Sheffield. He's been hit or miss. I'm still going to ride it out. I'm hoping, just in contrast, you look at how his 3 pitches are. I just feel like his 3 pitches and his stamina being higher, I think he's got more potential as a starter than Shell does at this point. DeSclafani still leading us in wins, but he's had some injury problems towards the latter half of the season. His movement's a concern, and he gives up a lot of home runs. He's not going to be somebody I'm going to re-sign. He's making $6 million this year, so that's pretty much a downside for him. And then on the lineup side, I've got Bart that I called up. He's going to be the starter for the rest of the season. Posey just really struggled the second half. His numbers are not that great. He's probably getting the wins above replacement based on his defense, which is a little bit better than his offense at this point. Wilmer Flores has taken over the starting first baseman job, but he hasn't done as great as I thought he was going to do. Big thing with him is he didn't get a lot of walks. That was the benefit or the positive with Belt. He was at least getting on base more, and his ops plus you see is 81. Belt, for instance, he has an ops plus at 90 right now, but it was 100 or above for most of the season. But Belt, I'm not going to re-sign. Flores has got a team option for next year that I'm probably going to exercise on, just because he has some depth. He can back up at second and third if I need him to. He's not rated highly defensively there, but at least he's got some offensive upside. Slater, still don't know what to do with this guy. His ratings have improved a little bit overall, but he needs to be in the outfield, and I've got him playing second right now. So maybe if I can get some pickups in free agency, might move him around to a place that benefits him more. Tommy La Stella, he's up for free agency at 3. I don't really like his contract, as you can see. I mean, next year $5.25 million. I'm okay with that, but 2023 $11.5 million. I think that's too much for this guy, with what he's probably going to give us. His offensive numbers aren't that bad, and he's probably the top wins above replacement player on the team, or one of the top. He gets for a high average, but he doesn't have power. And at those corner positions, for what it's worth, I think you really need somebody with power. So I don't know. I mean, he can play second if he needs to. That might be what has to happen next year. Maybe move him to second if I'm struggling to find any quality in free agency, and then move Austin Slater to left. We'll see. Crawford having really one of his most solid offensive years, 5+ wins above replacement. I'm not going to re-sign him because he's, at this moment, he's really wanting even more. I think it was 18 million. I can't pull the trigger on that, but he has really had a good year. Probably the biggest surprise offensively on the team. And I may have, let me see. Yeah, he's the guy who's leading with wins above replacement at 4.2. Dickerson has been consistently good second half. Dubon not. Dubon, he's a good defensive player at center. His numbers overall are probably going to be good, but he was an all-star, the only all-star on the team. His average just tanked. He hit 230 in July, 229 in August. I think he's going to have a hard time duplicating the numbers he put up in the first half of the season. And then last one here, I'll mention Mike Yastrzemski. Came in the best rated offensive player we had on the team. He's really struggled. He's got an ops plus below 100. On pace for, I guess, generous numbers in terms of things like doubles and RBIs, but not a great year from him average wise. And I don't know if it's because he struggles against lefties. I don't know if that's the issue. No, I mean, you look at his splits, he hits a little bit better against lefties. He's just had a tough time. It could be that where I've got him in the lineup, which is that cleanup spot, maybe that's not a good spot for him. I think he's the kind of player you really need some stronger players around him, I think. And so a lot of this is going to, I'm hoping, be fixed in free agency. So last thing before we start simming through the season, we got some injuries that have probably hurt us overall for the season. Cueto, who was pitching well above his expectations, he's been injured now most of the second half of the year. Logan Webb, he went on a pretty long injury. I forget how long it was originally. I still think he's a better pitcher than Shell, and I'm looking to get him back at the for the last part of the season. He's about 3 days to come off, and I'll give him a rehab assignment for maybe a couple weeks and get him at least a couple more starts before the year's over. And then we got Solano. At this point, I mentioned before, he had such a long injury. I just feel like he's not going to have much of a future with us. So I don't even know if I should bring him up. I might stick him down at the minors or the rehab assignment to end the season. And then same with Longoria. He's out for another 2 weeks. I don't know what the option's going to be on him, on his contract. I know it's a team option, but I don't know what the buyout is. But again, I don't expect to bring him back. So that's where we're looking right now. We're record 62-70. I just hope we finish strong, maybe get close to 500, and get ready for the off season. So let's go finish up the series against Milwaukee at home. We won the last game 5-3. We won this one 8-6. So Slater had a good game here. Bart, his first start with us now, 2 hits, 2 RBIs. Crawford 2 for 3, still doing a good job. And Sheffield, 6 innings, 3 runs, but 10 strikeouts. I like that. Rogers didn't get the save here. Whistler, who's been really good, he's a guy I'm probably going to bring back. I don't like his movement, but 2-pitch pitcher. I think he's a good enough guy to throw in there as a setup. And he's responded. He's had a good season. Now I think recovery unclear for Solano, so it's really a moot point whether I bring him back or not. DeSclafani, still injured. I mean, I wonder if I should just... I don't really have anybody I think I can put in that starting rotation until Webb's back. I mean, I could give a chance to Beck, who coming into the season I thought had some upside, but he's really struggled in the minors, so I think I'm going to ride it out until I got Webb back. And we win again against Milwaukee, so good series there. Dubon with 3 hits here. Slater, Bart, a good game from him again. I think he was just wanting to... he was really wanting to be in the majors the whole season. Tropiano, not a strong outing, but good enough to get us the win. Sherfy, another guy who's looked good in relief. He might be somebody I bring back. He's had a good season for us. And then looking at the news, the Mets are winning. And did they have Kemp? Yeah, they had Kemp on their team. Wow, I didn't realize that. So now we're going up against Los Angeles. Luckily, it's at home. They've really given us fits this whole year. We lose the first one 3-10. Webb is ready to come off, but I'm going to give him a rehab assignment. And I want to make sure that he's going to be in that starting rotation. No, why would you do that? I mean, they're putting Logan Webb as the closer. Just put him in there for Pfeiffer or something. Man, he won't allow me to change it. I don't really like Webb as the closer. I mean, his ratings are definitely better as a reliever, but So it's Saturday. I may go one more week and then call him up anyway. But this game was pretty damaging right here. Yastrzemski had a hit. That's about as good as you can say for him. Shell was rocked, 5 runs in 2 2/3. Sherfy didn't look good here. Just talked him up. That usually happens. So game 2 against Buehler, who's one of the better pitchers in the league this year. We lose 3-6. Cueto, he's also eligible to come off. I'm just doing a rehab assignment for him. Not much offensively here, and Sanchez was really hammered. Three innings, 6 runs. And I'll look at the news after this last one. We need to win here just to salvage something. And we do, 7-3. Several guys here with a couple hits. Crawford, 3 for 4. Posey, playing at catcher, had a couple of hits. And then pitching-wise, Sheffield didn't stay in there long, but he did look good while he was out there. And then Elledge gave up a run, but jury's still out on him. He was an early season trade. I'm hoping that he develops something in the offseason. So a lot of news here. Corey Kluber, not having a great season, but gets a shutout there. Jake McGee, who I didn't realize it when I was doing some trading. He's had a rough season, but he's a guy who signed through next season and a team option in 2023. I didn't realize that. I don't really know what I'm going to do with him either because he's had a rough season. His ratings are not that great, especially against righties. He's going to give up some home runs there, but Trout, named Player of the Week, his average just now up to 200. He's had a really off season. Christian Paque, I can't ever remember how you say that. He's had a good rookie season. And Ramos, Player of the Week. That's been the thing for those guys down at high A Eugene and double A Richmond. I've got somebody who's Player of the Week, seems like every week there. We're 15 right in the middle on the weekly power rankings, but we're still 7 games below 500, playing Colorado now. Wow, 19-7. That was a bloodbath. Belt got the start at left. That's weird. And got a couple of hits. Yastrzemski, pretty good game from him. His average now up to 241. Crawford still hitting. And it looked like Tropiano had one of his worst outings. And then the bullpen just really fell apart. Casale, the catcher, wound up pitching in this game. That was not how I wanted that one to go. I've always hated playing Colorado on the road in this game. 14-6 in the next game. Oh man. And Shell was the pitcher here who started. Bart, he's off to a nice start to the season. For him, 2 for 3 and 3 RBIs. Yastrzemski hitting better there, but pitching has just been tore up in these 2 games. So last game to get out of this series, we win 9-7. So how many runs was that we gave up? Almost 40. So we got Flores having a good game. Yastrzemski, another good game from him. Hopefully he's going to end the season strong. Sanchez, pretty good start, but Elledge, Whistler, Whistler has been really hit a couple times here this week. Take a look at the news. McGee suffers another setback. Joey Marciano, who was not on my radar, but he was the reliever of the year there for us in the Arizona League. Sanchez, not a bad. I mean, this scout, for what it's worth, picks up some pretty decent amateurs. I know it doesn't seem like much, like a 1.5 star potential, but you give a guy, as long as his personality ratings are good, he's got good work ethic. You give him some playing time. Sometimes those guys develop, so that's good. And I'm thinking McGee, he may be done. I mean, I may have to release this guy. Crawford still wants to be with us, I know, but I can't justify that with where we are as a team. So now we're going up against the Cubs on the road for 3. And we're back down to 8 games below 500. And DeGrom having a good year. 15 wins. That's good for him. So they're talking about Marciano was actually pitcher of the year in that rookie league. So game 1 against Chicago, nice win, 5-2. Solano ready to come off, but like I said, I'm just going to send him down to the minors at this point because I don't want to really waste the spot on a guy I'm not going to wind up using after this season. So Yastrzemski, 2 for 4, average getting close to 250. Um, Dickerson staying around 290. Decent numbers for him. He's also going to pick up pretty good boost there in arbitration, so I don't know what to do with him. DeSclafani is 13th win, and a good outing from him, although he had 4 walks, just 1 run. Rogers got his 28th save. Game 2, 5-4 win. Sheffield looks like he was hurt on this one. We got Dickerson again, another good game. Dubine, his average is at 278, so he definitely struggled down the stretch. But at Slater, good numbers from him still. Sheffield looked good, and it's not a big injury, so I'm hopeful he'll be better. He'll be ready for his next start. But I might be, if I'm really lucky, he might develop a little bit in the offseason. So we're going to win this series against Chicago. We lose the last game 4-6. Slater with 3 hits. Yastrzemski, I think, has got a nice little hitting streak going here. Let me see what his game logs look like. Yeah, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. A 10-game hitting streak for the month of September. He's hitting 357. So hopefully he's back. Dumont 3 for 5 here, but Shell, he was hammered again. That was his 10th loss. It might be. I wonder how he looks as a reliever. Not much better. I don't know if. I just don't really know what he's going to turn into for this team. But we're into the Monday, and I said I was going to bring up Logan Webb. I think I will. Let me see if there's any big news there to report. Players of the week: Whit Merrifield and Trevor Story at Colorado. He stayed with Colorado in this playthrough the whole season. He's usually one of those guys you think is going to be traded away pretty easily. But Webb, I'm going to call up and make sure he's listed as a starting pitcher. And now, who do I want him to replace? I still want to give Shell some time. DeSclafani, he's not going to pitch for me next year, so I'm going to put Webb in there and move Webb into that 4 spot, and just put him as the emergency starter for right now. So we got a series up 4 games against San Diego, who turned their season around. I haven't looked at the standings here, but they're now 73-70, playing fairly close for that wild card, but they were well below 500 for most of the start of the season. If you look around the league, you got the Yankees winning in the American League East. Boston started finally playing worse after a strong start. Minnesota, pretty comfortable lead in the Central, and then Houston running away with the West. You got Angels and Cleveland. Pretty good lock on the wild cards right now. Verdugo leading the league in batting. His ratings are really high in this team, or in this version of the game. Devers leading in RBIs, having a pretty solid season. Byron Buxton he's having a great season to take away those strikeouts. He's leading in wins above replacement, but Bregman's not too far behind. Dylan Bundy leading in wins. Garrett Cole, no surprise, 245 strikeouts. 13-10 with a 4.17 ERA. And then in the National League, Mets already clinched the playoffs, and they're probably going to win the division unless Atlanta gets really hot. Milwaukee, pretty comfortable over the Cardinals. Dodgers, they've all but won the West. And then Braves and Cardinals looking like the wild cards. Acuna and Albies here at Atlanta. Albies rated as a 5-star player right now. He's having a great season. Pitching wise, Burns at Milwaukee having a good year. Close to the Triple Crown, but trailing Buehler in ERA there. So let's see if we can have a good 7 games homestand here. San Diego and then Atlanta. Game 1 we win 6-4. Longoria suffered a setback, but that's okay. Yastrzemski 2 for 2 has his average up to 250. Joey Bart still hitting 405 average. Sanchez didn't get the win. Rogers though got the save here. Game 2 we lose 7-1. 3 hits from La Stella. Tropiano, who may have been the guy I should have removed from the starting rotation, but I don't know. It's probably hit or miss either way you go there. Game 3 against San Diego, another 7-1 loss. Flores did have 3 hits, Slater 2. That was pretty much the offense. Webb, first start back, 6 runs but just 1 earned. And then DeSclafani looked pretty good there in relief. I wanted to take a look at that Longoria. So he's four days away from being ready to play. We got a kind of a nothing there at scouting report. All right, Braves off to the playoffs. So game 4 against San Diego, we lose. So they beat us 3 out of 4 there. Flores, Dickerson, a couple hits. Sheffield, another decent outing. A lot of walks, but Whistler, who was pitching so well, has had a rough September. 8.59 ERA. So what we're probably looking at now is a lot of playoff news, who's in, who's out. But another guy here, Jimmy Glowinski, second baseman down at high A, who's had a great season. I don't know if it's coaching or what, but man, the minors at that high A, Eugene, and double A, Richmond, man, they have looked really good. This guy's probably going to be called up for next season. Not called up, to the majors, but he's going to go up a level, I'm sure. A lot of movement, I think, in the offseason with this team in the minors. Weathers not having a great season with San Diego. He's gone for the year. All right, so 3 games against Atlanta at home. We lose the first one 1-4. We're down to 10 games below 500. Not much to report here. Shell gave us 6 innings, 3 runs. The bullpen was okay, but Soroka, much better outing from him. Game 2, we lose 4-5. So I think that's 5 in a row we've lost. 5 in a row. Really struggling. For what it's worth, Yastrzemski, 2 hits, gets his average up above 250. Flores, taking a look at him in September, he's looked pretty good. And that's, I think I moved him to the starting role either around the All-Star break or a little bit later. So I guess he's responding right now for the most part. He's injured, but it's just a day-to-day injury. But I just don't know what to think about him for next year. I know I'm going to keep that team option, but I don't know if he's going to be a starter next year. So last game against Atlanta, can we salvage something? We can't. We lose 4-2. So we're in danger, really. We're going to finish with a losing record, but we're going to be pretty far down, I'm afraid. Dubon had a couple hits here, but he's still struggling overall from where he was. And a lot of news. So Wilmer Flores now suffers a setback. So we got another not too good scouting fine there. So it's going to be 5 days till he's ready to play. I really need to keep him healthy. Let's Players of the week: Rendon and Senzel, who's with Cincinnati. Power rankings, we're all the way down there now to 24th. So it's really been tough this month. I mean, we've lost 6 in a row, 3 of 10. We're at San Diego and Colorado. Tough 1-0 extra inning loss there. Belt starts again in right field. Flores still playing. I may just let it go. Webb had a good outing here. 7 innings, no runs. And Tommy LaStella is out. Man. So he's out for the rest of the year. I guess I'll just need to bring in either Longoria or Solano. Who would you bring in here? I think I'll just bring in Longoria. Let him finish up with his career here with a chance to do something, I guess. And I'm going to bring him, let him bat a little bit higher in the lineup against lefties. And let's see how this turns out. So any news? So we're officially out of the playoffs. Finish up this series against San Diego. We get a win, 5-4, but we're 13 games below 500 right now. Dickerson may have been injured. Is that true? Yep. Davis, who was somebody I called up from the minors, didn't really look that great. May have been some better choices at this point to call up, but like Fernandez, for instance. But I didn't like his personality, and I don't foresee him having a place on this team because of that. Austin Slater, a good storyline, I guess, on his kind of person he is. So now we're up against Colorado. Did I look at the pitching here? Shell didn't get the win. Rogers the save. So I think even the bullpen has started to, I mean, ERA is now above 4. Pitching is still stronger than hitting in terms of the balance on the team. But, man, here we go against Colorado on the road. I'll give a donation. And Dickerson, day-to-day for 4 days. That could have been worse. But here we go against Colorado. Just, I mean, a few guys here with some decent offensive performances. Pitching, Sanchez may have been injured. Looks like he was. And then the bullpen was just up and down the line, was just hit really hard. And lose again 3-6. Sanchez is done. And even Crawford is injured right now. Unbelievable. So, yeah. So Flores got 4 hits, so maybe he's going to end strong. That'd be something to take into next season. Same with Yastrzemski. Tropiano was injured here, and he had a bad outing. So we can't get this season done quick enough, really. Oh, I got to move, I guess, DeSclafani back in there to the 5th spot. And then we win 9-6. Crawford out for 6 weeks. Shame, he does finish above 300. Really had a good season, but that'll be his San Francisco career in this playthrough anyway. Some good hitting from the 1st through 5th spots in the lineup. Even Flores still hitting well. Dickerson, just a minimal injury for a couple more days. Webb didn't get the decision, but he was kind of rocky there. And then I guess I'm going to have to, well, Harper Player of the Week for what it's worth. I guess I'm going to have to bring up Solano, which I didn't think I was going to, but he can play shortstop. So that's where I'll put him in the lineup. So put him there and then put him here. And just see if we can get through the rest of the season. We've only got a few more games, like 6 games left. Arizona and San Diego. Tropiano going for 11 months. So now I guess I'm going to have to, I guess maybe he'll get a start out of it. I'm going to bring up Tristan Beck and put him in there and see if he gets maybe one start to end the season. So we lose the first game 3-4. Dubon 3 hits. Solano 2 for 4 coming back. And then Sheffield, not a good outing from him. And then we lose the next game 9-5 in extra innings. Slater, good game at the top of the lineup, but not much else offensively. Beck, his first start with us was pretty good. 6 2/3, just 2 runs. Then the bullpen, especially Rogers, he's now down to 3 stars. I still think I'll probably keep him around. He's not eligible for arbitration yet, but he's not going to be the closer next year. We're going to have to upgrade there. And then we lose the next game 11-1. So we're 71-88. I did not want a 90 loss season, but we're going to struggle, I think, to keep that from happening. Not too much to say for the offense here, and then Shell was just hammered. I think that pretty much, unless something happens that his ratings get a lot better in the offseason, I think that's an experiment that's going to go down as a failure. He's not going to make it. So I'm going to finish out the season, then we'll look at the news. We got 3 against San Diego at home. We lose the first one 5-0. Now Elledge is out. Injuries have been crippling in the second half of the season. You can't win when you're getting injured like that. And I don't see any point in bringing up anybody now. In terms of the game, Yastrzemski got a couple hits, so he's going to finish strong. His ratings 3 stars still. He finished September hitting 340. So maybe he'll look good next year. DeSclafani, for what it's worth, he had a decent season for us, but don't expect him back next year. Game 2, we win 4-2. Flores finished strong here, 2 for 3. Joey Bart, averages come down from where he was, but I don't know. I'm hoping that he develops some ratings too. Logan Webb got his 9th win of the season. And then the last game, we lose 4-8, so that'll give us 90 losses on the season. Yastrzemski, 2 for 4, 3 RBIs. Slater, he was injured, out for 3 weeks. Injuries were just terrible. And then Sheffield, not a good outing from him. So a lot of news to look at. So how much cash did I put down there? I don't know. I don't know where that goes in that storyline. So we got Fresno. Are they one of our teams? No, they're Colorado. They're playing in the playoffs. Now, I did want to look at the player development update. Tropiano loses his movement rating, so he's not going to be down. Still just a 2.5-star player. Shell, he lost his overall ratings, dropped. Seth Elledge, his movement improved and his control improved. His potential movement ratings improved. Drew Robinson, now we're looking at some guys in the minors. I'm not really seeing any of my bigger players here in terms of the prospects, except Hunter Bishop. He's improved in a few things. I still don't see how he's getting his numbers from the ratings that he has. But not a whole lot of improvement there in the majors. So Rendon, Player of the Month, Batter of the Month in the National League, went to Austin Riley. Rendon in the American League. Savelle, Pitcher of the Month for Cleveland. Bumgarner having a great season there for Arizona. And then rookies, Arihara, Texas. He's had a good rookie season. And Paque. Elliot Ramos, however you say that, Hitter of the Month for Richmond. Jeremy Walker, Pitcher of the Month. Cole Waits, San Jose, Pitcher of the Month, but he doesn't look like a good prospect. So Evan Longoria, he's not, we're gonna have a lot to go through here in the off season. We got, looking at the way the season went out in terms of the playoffs, you got the Yankees, Twins, and Indians, then Astros, Angels making it in the American League, Braves with 102 wins, but New York just a little bit better, Milwaukee and the Cardinals making it, and then San Diego came up just a little short to make it there. So what I'll probably do now is play through the playoffs and get through the awards, and then I'm going to come back when free agency starts, and we'll look at where we're at and what kind of players we're going to have in the offseason. Freddie Freeman had an off year, and he's just a 4-star player now. But he did not sign an extension, so he will be available as a free agent. He was one of the ones I was looking at. Whether I'll go with him or not, I can't say right now. But, with the money that we're going to have, I feel like we're going to be able to pick up quite a few players that are going to make a difference here. At least I hope so. But as always, I appreciate you guys watching. Next episode will be in free agency and off season, and I will see you then.